Homer, when you read the Iliad, for example. So much of nature is deified. Rivers are gods, the breeze is a god, rumor is a god, rage is a god. And this is something Barfield told me. Modern readers are tempted to think this is merely metaphor or merely simile. And it certainly is both of those. But Barfield's point was what you hear in the Homeric poems is the residue of the capacity of humans to feel to feel nature as a living being, not as mere causation, but
Right.
as living being. And I have moments where a breeze crosses my face, and I feel like I'm in the Iliad. I feel like I'm in a Homeric poem because I have that experience of the world. And on the other hand, before I came in here for this, I was out moving my lambs from one paddock to another, and it's hard for me to understand. It's hard for me to believe that I could have the joy that I have in life without daily contact with livestock.
Same here.
Just to remember that there's a world beyond my head. I love the world beyond my head.
Oh yeah, the academic environment, as much as I can appreciate it, would be toxic without that daily contact with the things of this world.
I can sense.
We have lambs too. And
I can say the same thing working for the Most Holy Roman Catholic Church at HQ. Doesn't make sense unless you communicate with the real.
it doesn't. It doesn't make and
It doesn't hold together. It does not hold together.
And it's an antidote to modernity. Because it is and I have the same feeling that you have. So right now I have some bottle lambs I'm feeding, and I go in there in the morning. And I'm sitting on the sill of the barn feeding these two crazy lambs, and watching the wind go over the pasture. And you think, and it's so easy you could take it for granted, but you can't take it for granted because it's a revelation. It really is a revelation, right? It's a disclosure.
A question that interests me for both of you, I was thinking about it before we came on. The name of our podcast, as listeners know, is the Regeneration Podcast. Well, what's degeneration to you, Jason, when you look around? And what might constitute, what interests you as a guest for regeneration? Where would you put some energy? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to work on this sometimes. I ask myself, what is the worser invention? The automobile or the cell phone? And it kind of depends on, maybe it depends on my mood, ETOH in the bloodstream, I don't know. But I think that one of the real problems that many of us face, and especially a lot of young people face, is they have so much between them and the world that is, the given world. So many buffers. Money is one of those, by the way. I think it's this kind of falsifier of reality.
A relationship with nature.
That will be the salvation of the church. The church, and I think East and West, more West than East, but certainly both, has been estranged from nature for a long time. And I would say almost all the problems we see right now in the world stem from that estrangement from nature that the church, I shouldn't say the church, the church leadership took long ago and started to distance itself from that. Mike and I've talked so many times about the Celtic church, which was not an urban-based Christianity. There were no cities to speak of. When I look at it, I think of Steiner is definitely looking that direction. So is Barfield. That a Christianity reconnected to the seasons and to the cosmos is it's the only way forward.
The American consciousness, when we get into nature, it has to be so far away from all things being civilized, right?
Yeah.
And so the Appalachian Trail studiously avoids contact as much as it can with civilization, whereas you can heighten the beauty of a creek by putting a wonderful bridge over it and things like that. That's, I think front porch, that's the same image. These tertium quid places, as educators, we got to die on that battlefield.
There's no such thing as raw nature, or we weren't made to live in raw nature. We were made to live in art, and things that are artfully done are sometimes they're cities, sometimes they're front porches, but we don't ever live in raw nature. We live in nature infused by mind, constantly infused by mind. And this is one of the points that Wendell Berry makes. He says there's no sense in talking about nature apart from the human presence in it. The question is, what is the human presence going to do, and how is it going to rearrange things? Is it going to do so in accord with the way nature works, or across it, against that grain?